Yes, there is a required clearance between cable tray and water pipes. The National Electrical Code Article 300.22 C3 requires a minimum of 6 inches between cable trays and water pipes where the water pipes are installed in a vertical position. Article 392.10 B requires a minimum of 12 inches between cable trays and water pipes where the water pipes are installed in a horizontal position. These clearances are required to prevent damage to the water pipes from heat or fire originating in the cable tray. Additionally, they provide space for maintenance and repairs. In the scenario described, the uncovered ladder tray containing low-voltage communications cables is hung only 2 inches beneath a 4-inch water pipe. This violates the National Electrical Code requirements for clearance. To comply with the code, there are a couple of solutions. Firstly, increase the clearance between the cable tray and water pipe to the required minimum distance, or secondly, install a cover on the cable tray to provide additional protection to the water pipe. When installing or maintaining electrical systems near water pipes, it is essential to adhere to the clearance requirements specified by the National Electrical Code. These regulations are in place to ensure the safety and reliability of both the electrical and plumbing systems, and to prevent potential hazards such as fire or water damage. Firstly, understanding the National Electrical Code Article 300.22 C3. This section specifically addresses wiring methods and materials allowed in ducts used for dust, loose stock, or vapor removal, and wiring in other spaces used for environmental air. While it primarily focuses on spaces used for environmental air, its underlying principle emphasizes the need to protect wiring from potential hazards and to prevent the spread of fire or smoke through these spaces. In the context of cable trays and water pipes, this article underscores the importance of maintaining adequate clearance to prevent heat from electrical sources from affecting nearby water pipes. For vertical water pipes, a minimum clearance of 6 inches is mandated. This separation helps to minimize the risk of heat transfer from the cable tray to the water pipe, which could potentially lead to pipe damage or even contribute to fire hazards. The clearance also allows for sufficient space for maintenance and inspection of both the cable tray and the water pipe, ensuring that any issues can be identified and addressed promptly. Secondly, understanding the National Electrical Code Article 392.10 B. This article pertains specifically to cable trays and provides detailed requirements for their installation. Subsection B focuses on the spacing requirements for cable trays, particularly in relation to other built-in components and systems, such as water pipes. For horizontal water pipes, a minimum clearance of 12 inches is required between the cable tray and the pipe. This larger clearance compared to vertical pipes is likely due to the increased surface area of the horizontal pipe, which could potentially be exposed to heat from the cable tray. The 12-inch clearance provides a greater buffer zone, further reducing the risk of heat transfer and ensuring the safety of the water pipe and surrounding area. Both of these articles emphasize the importance of maintaining adequate clearance between cable trays and water pipes. These clearances are not arbitrary, but are carefully calculated to minimize the risk of fire, water damage, and other hazards. By adhering to these regulations, electrical contractors and maintenance personnel can help ensure the safety and reliability of electrical and plumbing systems in buildings. When addressing situations where existing installations do not meet the National Electrical Code clearance requirements, there are two primary solutions: firstly, increasing the clearance, and secondly, installing a cover on the cable tray. Increasing the clearance involves physically repositioning either the cable tray or the water pipe, or both, to achieve the minimum required distance. This may involve rerouting the cable tray, modifying the pipe supports, or making other structural changes to the installation. Before undertaking any such modifications, it is essential to carefully assess the existing conditions and to develop a plan that ensures the safety and integrity of both the electrical and plumbing systems. If increasing the clearance is not feasible due to space constraints or other limitations, the alternative solution is to install a cover on the cable tray. A cover can provide a physical barrier between the cable tray and the water pipe, helping to prevent heat transfer and to protect the pipe from potential damage. The cover should be made of a fire-resistant material and should be securely attached to the cable tray to ensure that it remains in place. It is important to note that simply adding a cover to the cable tray may not be sufficient to meet the National Electrical Code requirements in all cases. Depending on the specific installation and the type of cables in the tray, additional measures may be necessary to ensure adequate protection. For example, it may be necessary to use a combination of increased clearance in the cover or to install additional fire protection measures such as a fire-rated barrier. In addition to the National Electrical Code requirements, it is also important to consider any local codes or regulations that may apply to the installation of cable trays and water pipes. Local codes may have more stringent requirements than the National Electrical Code, or may address specific issues that are not covered by the National Electrical Code. By consulting with local building officials and electrical inspectors, contractors can ensure that their installations comply with all applicable requirements. When working with electrical systems and water pipes, it is essential to follow safe work practices and to take appropriate precautions to prevent accidents. Firstly, always energize electrical circuits before working on or near them. Secondly, use appropriate personal protective equipment, such as gloves and eye protection. Thirdly, be aware of the potential hazards of working with water pipes, such as leaks and corrosion. By following these precautions, workers can minimize the risk of injury and ensure the safety of themselves and others. In summary, maintaining adequate clearance between cable trays and water pipes is crucial for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical and plumbing systems. The National Electrical Code provides specific requirements for these clearances, which must be followed to prevent fire, water damage, and other hazards. When addressing situations where existing installations do not meet the code requirements, there are two primary solutions: firstly, increasing the clearance, and secondly, installing a cover on the cable tray. By adhering to the National Electrical Code and following safe work practices, contractors can help ensure the safety and integrity of building systems. In addition to the specific requirements outlined in the National Electrical Code, there are several other factors to consider when installing cable trays and water pipes. Firstly, the type of cables being carried in the cable tray can affect the required clearance. For example, cables that generate a lot of heat, such as high-voltage power cables, may require a greater clearance than low-voltage communication cables. Secondly, the material of the water pipe can also affect the required clearance. For example, plastic pipes may be more susceptible to heat damage than metal pipes, and may require a greater clearance. Thirdly, the ambient temperature in the area where the cable tray and water pipe are installed can also affect the required clearance. In hot environments, the clearance may need to be increased to compensate for the increased heat. In addition to these factors, it is also important to consider the potential for future changes to the building or its systems. For example, if the building is likely to be renovated in the future, it may be necessary to install the cable tray and water pipe with extra clearance to accommodate the potential changes. It is also important to ensure that the cable tray and water pipe are properly supported and secured to prevent them from moving or shifting over time. This can help to maintain the required clearance and prevent damage to the systems. When planning the installation of cable trays and water pipes, it is always best to consult with a qualified electrical engineer or contractor. These professionals can provide guidance on the specific requirements for the installation and can help to ensure that the systems are installed safely and in accordance with all applicable codes and regulations. By taking the time to carefully plan and execute the installation, building owners and managers can help to ensure the long-term safety and reliability of their electrical and plumbing systems. The information provided in this narration is for general guidance only and should not be considered a substitute for professional advice. Always consult with a qualified electrician or contractor before undertaking any electrical work. The National Electrical Code is a complex and constantly evolving document. It is important to stay up to date on the latest requirements and to consult with a qualified professional if you have any questions. Failing to comply with the National Electrical Code can result in fines, penalties, and even legal action. More importantly, it can put people's lives at risk. By taking the time to understand and comply with the code, you can help to ensure the safety of yourself and others. Cable trays are a common method for routing and supporting electrical cables in commercial and industrial buildings. They offer a flexible and cost-effective alternative to conduit and other wiring methods. However, cable trays must be installed properly to ensure their safety and reliability. Water pipes are an essential part of any building's plumbing system. They carry water to and from various fixtures and appliances. Water pipes must be installed properly to prevent leaks, corrosion, and other problems. When cable trays and water pipes are installed in close proximity to each other, it is important to take precautions to prevent potential hazards. These hazards can include fire, water damage, and electrical shock. The National Electrical Code provides specific requirements for the clearance between cable trays and water pipes to minimize these hazards. These requirements are based on the type of cables in the cable tray, the material of the water pipe, and the ambient temperature in the area where the systems are installed. By following the National Electrical Code requirements, building owners and managers can help to ensure the safety and reliability of their electrical and plumbing systems. In addition to the National Electrical Code requirements, there are several other best practices that can be followed to improve the safety and reliability of cable tray and water pipe installations. These best practices include using corrosion-resistant materials, providing adequate support for the systems, and regularly inspecting the systems for damage. By following these best practices, building owners and managers can help to extend the lifespan of their systems and prevent costly repairs. Cable trays are typically made of metal, such as steel or aluminum. They come in a variety of sizes and shapes to accommodate different types of cables. Cable trays can be installed horizontally or vertically, and can be suspended from the ceiling or mounted to the wall. Water pipes are typically made of metal, such as copper or steel, or plastic, such as PVC or PEX. They also come in a variety of sizes and shapes to accommodate different water flow rates. Water pipes can be installed horizontally or vertically, and can be buried underground or run through the walls and ceilings of a building. When installing cable trays and water pipes, it is important to consider the potential for condensation. Condensation can form on cold water pipes, which can then drip onto the cables in the cable tray. This can cause corrosion and electrical shorts. To prevent condensation, it is important to insulate the water pipes properly. It is also important to ensure that the cable tray is properly ventilated to allow moisture to escape. In addition to condensation, it is also important to consider the potential for water leaks. Water leaks can occur from a variety of sources, such as damaged pipes, faulty fittings, or leaky fixtures. Water leaks can damage the cables in the cable tray and can also create a safety hazard. To prevent water leaks, it is important to inspect the water pipes regularly for damage and to repair any leaks promptly. It is also important to ensure that the cable tray is properly protected from water damage. This can be done by installing a drip shield or by routing the cable tray away from potential water sources. In addition to the National Electrical Code requirements and best practices, there are several other resources that can be used to improve the safety and reliability of cable tray and water pipe installations. These resources include industry standards, training programs, and online forums. By taking advantage of these resources, building owners and managers can stay up to date on the latest information and can ensure that the systems are installed and maintained properly. Cable trays and water pipes are an essential part of any building's infrastructure. By following the National Electrical Code requirements, best practices, and other resources, building owners and managers can help to ensure the safety and reliability of these systems.